Hey, what's going on, everybody out there in the FFBE Global Facebook group, and hello to everybody who sees this video on YouTube as well. Welcome to this week's Ask an Old Mog video, where we look at questions and come up with answers in a visual format. This week, I thought it would be really good to talk about a very new topic in the game because it hasn't ever happened before because of some skipped units and things like that, and that is how to awaken a 4-star unit up to an NVA level. And so without further ado, let's get into it. So if you, for some reason, missed some of the news, you know, we now see that Zell, I'm gonna go ahead and go into my units here and show you. We see that Zell, who's originally a 4-star unit, can be awakened up to Neovision's Awaken. And so the question I have for us is, you know, how do we do that? If he's not a 5-star base unit, how do we get him to be a NVA unit? And honestly, the process is the same as it is for a regular 5-star base unit. Think about it. If you've got a 5-star base unit, you need to get them up to 6-star and then get them up to 7-star. To get them from 6-star to 7-star, you need their Prism. And you get their Prism either from buying a Prism with your unit of choice tickets, or converting a 5-star base copy into their Prism. And so the good news is we do that the same way with Zell as we do with any other unit. The only issue is he starts at 4-star, right? So let's take a look here in the Awaken Units tab. And I've got some 5-star base Zells and I've got some 4-star base Zells. So if we look at this Convert to Prism and Fragment section, I see that Zell here is an available option. If I click on him, I can either convert him into Fragments or convert him into Prisms and his Trust Moogle. But notice none of the 4-star ones are there. And so I can't convert a 4-star unit, I can only convert a 5-star unit. So really the first thing I have to do is take a 4-star copy of Zell and awaken him. Now, in a recent update that we got, you don't have to get him to max level to awaken him first. You can just click the awaken button, and then all of a sudden you get a 5-star Zell. So I'm not going to do it just now because I'm just kind of like hoarding my copies for right now. But I do have 2 copies of Zell here, one locked, one unlocked. They're both 5-star, and I've also got my my Neovision's Awakened Zell as well. So if I click on it again, I could convert him to 6-star. Or if I go to convert Prisms, I can convert my 5-star Zell into Fragments or a Prism. So those are the options. So to start with, the very key is either, you know, converting a 5-star base copy into Fragments or Prisms, and you do that first by awakening a 4-star copy into a 5-star copy so that you can do all the normal things to him. From there, it's the same. So, you know, if I had another 7-star copy, I would just click on him and click Awakening, and the 7-star copy would say, oh, just spend the Fragments, and you get the Fragments from, you know, wherever. And then from there, it's just on and on. You know, you just need the Fragments and the Pearls and all the normal stuff to get him to EX 0 and 1 and 2 and 3, and there you go. So the process is basically the same. It's just a little bit confusing at first because you might be thinking, oh, I've got all these extra 4-star copies. You know, I've got these 4-star copies right here, but I can't convert them yet or do anything to them yet because they have to be awakened to 5-star first. And that's really the main thing about it. It's not that difficult. But you might be asking yourself, why Old Mog, if you have a copy of Zell that is you know, 50 shards away from being EX3, and you've got all these extra copies of Zell, why am I not converting them to Fragments? Aha, let me go ahead and tell you. And this is the key to playing this event, or doing this at the time that his event is active. If I go to Summon and I go to the first shoot Raidbox Summon, and I look in all the current box contents, if I go back to box number 1, you know, box number 1 had his Super Trustmaster Moogles, it had a Prism for Zell, box number 2 had Fragments for Zell, and box number 3 has Fragments for Zell as well. In fact, it has 50 Fragments for Zell, which is the amount that I'm short. I'm personally really like to be hyper efficient and not waste free fragments that they give us. I could just convert my Zell to an NVA EX plus 3 right now with all the extra copies that I have, but I figure I've got this set of fragments right there. I might as well just get them and then do it later. There's not any content that I really need Zell for right now. I've already done the Chronicle battle. My Squall took care of that for me. But the important thing to think about here is that the Raidbox Summon for Zell gives you everything you need to convert the free copy of Zell we got last week into a 6-star, a 7-star, and an NVA unit up to, I believe it's going to take you up to EX plus 1 if you haven't, which is going to unlock his super limit burst. Really quick, want to take a quick look at Zell and what he does for you, and then we'll move on to my next topic. And this is going to be a pretty short video because of that. So Zell is a super limit burst unit. The higher EX level you have, the better he's going to be able to use his super limit burst. But while his super limit burst is powerful, right, it is, strong for him. It's an 87% attack and magic break, which is pretty cool. It's an all element imperil for 120%, which is pretty cool. It's a water-based attack. It's a 230x mod, which is like not super great. It's also not super bad. You could do better with other units. But here's what's really cool about him is it boosts all of these abilities by 475 times. So it boosts all of this, all right, to get even stronger. So you really want to use his super limit burst to power up all these finishing moves, and then they become like usable and like sort of relevant damage compared to what they were before. I mean, 475x is a huge increase. It's not going to be as strong as a 470x limit burst, for example, because of how modifiers work. But this is his finishing skill. So his finishing skills become really good for 3 turns after you use his SLB. And that's where he's really good. So the limit burst is good itself. It's a nice break, nice imperils, reasonable, very usable. But the ability to give him quad cast and it's 5 turns even, and a modifier boost for all of his finishing moves is where he's really good. This is okay. This is really nice for him. I mean, he's not going to be like blowing your EX plus 3 Sephiroth out of the water or anything like that, but all of a sudden you've got a very usable finisher, especially if you're just starting out the game. If you're relatively new, Zell and Squall in particular are going to be very strong units for you to get started with. So I do recommend that you go ahead and make him, if not for the King Mog bonus points and the raid bonus points, just to use him on content, because he's going to be very usable for you if you're just getting started. Last thing I want to talk about here, the EX Coin Shop did an update today. And so we have some new units to talk about in the EX coins. Some of these units are very passable. Some of them are very usable. I would not recommend Dark Knight Leon. I would not recommend Emperor just yet. I would not recommend Summer Folka and Citra just yet. Elena, Eurytia, I would recommend those two. Elena in her shift form, even if you just get her to EX plus 1, has a lot of utility. And so she's a pretty good one to just buy some fragments for if you don't have EX plus 3. She's obviously not going to do like all the damage you want her to do in Clash of Wills or Dark Visions. But she is a morale-based damage dealer, just not very much. And her utility that comes from her shift form, like the morale filling and the like elemental resistances and stuff like that, are very useful in Clash of Wills. And other content too. I've used EX plus 3 Elena for lots of stuff just to kind of provide some buffs, and so she's very useful. Same thing with Eurytia. A lot of really great party support, has some killer buffs that can be used for the whole party, a lot of LB filling. Eurytia is a solid choice. I would definitely recommend at least getting Eurytia to EX plus 1 for her shift form. Very good. And then also Warrior of Dawn Galoof. Even though he doesn't do like the best damage, and his chaining's a little bit weird in his shift form, his tank form is really pretty solid in terms of his defense and his HP. He's also got a really nice entrust ability that you can use to fill up somebody else's limit burst for spamming that he can use as part of his rotation and stuff like that. So he's very useful. I would say, getting him to EX plus 1, EX plus 2, if you don't have a good tank, is a good option. Always, of course, Ascension Pearls and Transcension Pearls, Relics. Don't get me started on Relics and how much Esper Ore you need. This is another good thing to pick up as well. But those did update today, and I thought it'd be useful just to kind of share that. But that's really pretty much it that I have for right now. It's a very short video for today. Wanted to just make sure that everyone knew how to get their Zell awakened if they haven't figured it out for some reason yet. And hopefully this becomes useful in the future as we get more 4-star NVA units. I hope we get them. I hope we get these, because I think it's just fun to bring out these old units and be like, oh man, I can all of a sudden do all this damage with this old unit. I think that's super fun. I think Squall is super good. Zell is, he's very usable. He's gonna provide some nice support for Squall and really anybody else, because his limit burst imperils every element. And that's it. So if you've got a question that you want to see in next week's video, let me know, and I'll be happy to try and go over it and give us some feedback and some answers and some visual format type stuff. I hope that's been helpful for you. And if you like the stuff like this, feel free to subscribe so that you know when these videos drop, usually on Friday night. And then also be sure to check out my Tuesday Preppers videos, which come out on Tuesday, to help start gearing for content based on the news, looking for killers and stuff that you can pick up from trials and other quests in the game. And we'll see you in the next video. Take care.